Back, ladies and gentlemen, to the UMG $200 minimum 4v4 variant taking place here on March 22nd. Hopping in here for our semi-final matchup taking place between Hydra and Team WaR. We do apologize for the extensive commercial break. Of course, if you're on YouTube, didn't actually realize that. But we do apologize having some matches go through. Unfortunately for myself, having a hard time casting this solo just because of the current sickness that's going around. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but we're still going through it. We're still grinding out here, whether casting or playing. Both of these teams, of course, are now in the semifinals and trying to get a spot in the money. Of course, for the blue side, which of course is going to be Team WaR, we've got SheeshSuper, Tisch, Demise, and RobbieBeamin, aka RobbieBeamin. And from the Hydra side, we've got KiSMET, Zinx, and Neode. Definitely should be a pretty interesting matchup to watch when it comes down to both of these squads. I've been able to cast over them a little bit so far throughout the World War II season, as they've kind of, over time, found themselves on their particular squads for the time. And at least for the side of Hydra, I want to say that this is the old, I'm almost positive. I know this is actually the old Enter Uprise team, but I'm pretty sure that they actually substituted in Neode what was previously Beastly, if my mind serves me correct. I believe that was the official fourth that they had coming into this new roster. It looks like maybe a new player like Demise is now kind of fitting better with them. And for the guys on Team WaR, I think the last time I actually casted over them, they were under this exact organization, but they actually had Scoliosis on their team in place of, I think it's Demise, if my mind serves me correct. But still looking out, I might have said Demise for the other team. I didn't mean to say that. That's my bad. I meant to say that Neode is in for Beastly and that Demise is in for Scoliosis, at least from both sides, respectively. I don't really know at all what's happening anymore. My mind is kind of mush at the time being, so I'm just excited to cast some Call of Duty and realize who is up currently as we rotate our way now toward docks. It looks like it is the boys from Team WaR in prime control of that lead. And speaking of this new guy, Demise, this is one of my first times, I think, actually casting over him. He's now 10-2 and on a 5 spree. He's got 2 of his 3 streaks to work with and is not done yet. Finishes off on 6 kills in a row and definitely giving a huge momentum boost to the guys on Team WaR for the time being. And RobbieB is picking up right where he left off. Looks like the glide bomb coming in to try and help support the guys from Team WaR. Is getting closer and closer to that 100-second margin. And one thing that's great about Doc's Warehouse, and people, of course, discuss the positives to holding down this hill and why it is the money hill. Another reason why it's the money hill and a very important hard point to hold is the quick rotation that you have toward the next hill, which is over in barrels. It's about a hop, skip, and a toss away to just really walking over a few steps toward the next hard point. As it looks like rotation coming in spawns in favor of the guys from Team WaR yet again. They just can't stop talking about them. They're just playing so well currently. And it's all props to really RobbieB right now, 9-6, 10-8 right now for Sheesh. And Demise sitting at 13-4. Right now, if you are the guys from Hydra, it is a little bit worrying because at least in the tournaments that I've been able to cast over these guys, they've been very solid on the respawns, a little bit lacking in the search and destroy. And I was actually getting a chance to watch a little bit of their past series and how they were kind of doing. Of course, I think they ended up winning a Map 3 CTF, actually on this exact map of London Dock CTF, and they ended up losing the Search and Destroy 6-1. Granted, they're playing against a very solid Search and Destroy team, but they pretty much got dominated. And I was listening to their kind of communication after that match, and they were kind of saying, coming into the series, hey guys, we really need to work on our Search and Destroy quite a bit. We really need to kind of work on our setups and whatnot because we're definitely not at the place that we really want to be. So if you are in the kind of side of Hydra right now, this is going to be a little bit of a worrying time for you because you're pretty much getting slayed out in the hard point with a Search and Destroy up next, which could be your elimination game mode. It's got to be a little bit worrying. So something needs to turn around. Something needs to change. And, of course, we're not even done with the first rotations as of yet. And it could be maybe around the 180-second mark. It's a likely opportunity where we see Team WaR get to. But for the moment, Tisch and co are just having an easy time, a laughable time at this as SheeshSuper ends up dropping. And it looks like RobbieB is here for the pickups. Is just time after time you see their setups working out so well, whether or not it's a player inside of the hill or a player who's hopping in off of spawn. They're just there quickly and always for those trades. It looks like it will be a little bit of a sweat off the brow situation if you are the guys on Hydra. Finally able to hop inside of that hard point and get some time on the board time that you desperately need, but not time that you're really going to get too often. As 2 line up for Super, 4 kills in a row, 2 for RobbieBeamin, and we'll see if they can keep this up. 7 kills in a row as a team. It will end, but SheeshSuper, though, keeping in mind if he can find maybe 2 more kills, he could guarantee his team some streaks, but Rain has other tasks in mind. Despite that kill coming forward, streaks would be nice, but that really would be the cherry on top to a start that the boys from WaR are having at the moment. Super, though, we need to stand over this man. Nearly double positive. 12, I'll say 12 and 20. 20 and 12. Now, of course, ends up dropping. But if we're kind of talking about the setup right now for Hydra, as the streaks are actually starting to come in from Demise, men who had a very, very solid start, and utilizing those very solidly. I was going to say the setup really from either team really has to kind of be based on rotations as far as kind of getting established control on London docks, whether it's hardpoint, search and destroy, and or CTF. It's a fast-paced game mode. Constant communication needs to be a necessity, and you always have to be kind of a step ahead of your opponents. This is a map where you cannot kind of slack back and let the kills come to you. You almost have to force just about everything. And a map that a lot of teams don't really feel as confident on just because they don't really want to have to face off against teams as heavily. It's kind of like facing off against a very good offensive team at their game and just having to be better at them than that. That's why you see a lot of teams, whether it's in the Call of Duty World League or whatever it really may be, kind of really oppose the London Docks map just for that particular reason, and it's kind of unfortunate for them that they have to face off against this map or have it in the rotation for all 3 game modes, but it seems for the moment Team WaR are having a fairly easy time. Granted, we've been seeing Hydra having some good moments back and forth. The kind of time has been either contested or in their favor, a little bit more of the majority toward these maybe last hill and a half. But is it too late is the question. Have they run their course already with about a rotation and a half through? Question to be asking right now. This is the hard point where we saw Demise and co from the set of WaR have a very solid showing on, as it looks like more streaks have been earned. 5 kills in a row here for Demise, not far away from the artillery barrage, and that would be absolutely lethal. Neo trying to make his way in. KiSMET, good night, as it looks like 200 seconds have been reached. Play number 5, Zinx, trying to challenge whatever he possibly can, but he's got no teammate support. It's a 1v3 pinch, with most players lingering on the player who is on one side. He'll end up dropping, and just like that, the team forces start to come forward. Tisch, and a kind of 1v2, needs his teammate to join up alongside of him. It will be Robbie. Robbie drops, and now Tisch will have to try to face off against this fight, not able to do it. And so right now, if you are the guys on Hydra, you have to make that rush toward mid-map, have to have some type of a crossfire setup, because it's great that you're grabbing the scrap seconds, but that means that you are in a 3 versus 4 fight when it comes down to this next hill. And as kills start to come forward, Zinx needs to win another, but he's not able to make it happen. So just like that, it looks like as the rotation is being made yet again, barrel building in control, but only for a short time, as Rain and the legend Zinx are starting to make something happen, but not if SheeshSuper is there to answer the call. 26 and 18 right now for Super, a minute and 19 inside of the hill, doing everything for his squad right now. A real team effort when you look at that top right scorecard for the guys on Team WaR. I mean, you see pretty much consistent slang from all of them, and all of them also have at least a minute and 15 inside of the hill as well. Of course, Tisch at the most with that of 2 minutes and 22 seconds. Just overall a class act is what Team WaR is putting on right now. 10 more seconds left inside of barrels. Rotations have been on full control for them. And it just seems that the communication is absolutely there, and Rain will make Super look a little bit silly. But in the end, the last laugh should be given for Team WaR. As despite their, I don't really want to call it, their scary name, I guess it's fair to say. I mean, Team WaR, that's a pretty, that's a, I don't know how you really want to call it. It's a intimidating name. If you're facing off against Team WaR, it's like, hey, we're the Lightning Pandas. Oh, we're Team WaR Gaming. So it's like, oh, okay, like, all right, guys, just calm down there. But regardless, Team WaR do dominate their way to a map 1 victory, 250 to 135. And I got to say, I was really curious to see how a guy like Demise would perform, because when we're looking at, excuse me, we're looking at Team WaR, right? This is a group who is very solid in multiple game modes. But one thing that I feel like could have lacked in was, I feel like Skiliosis was the MVP of this squad a lot of the time, especially in Search and Destroy, but also in the respawns. And Demise, without question, answered the call here. I mean, he finishes off 31 and 19. Most kills for his team, most kills in the entire lobby. Along with that, has 5 defense and also grabs a minute and 25 inside of the hill. Granted, this game was kind of played into their hand. It was a lot easier for them to find kills, but still, though, I mean, that's exactly what you want to see when you're implementing a player who maybe isn't as well known. You're kind of maybe looking at as far as a newer player, kind of a lesser-known talent, but you're adding him in for what was kind of a major kind of role player on your team, like how Skiliosis was. I mean, like, so I remember casting over Skiliosis in the second annual Memorial $10,000 tournament, and his team ended up finishing second in Search and Destroy, really off of a strong performance from him. So I think it's fair to say, when it comes down to Team WaR's performance, a lot of pressure on the kind of new recruits, either from, like I said, either from Team WaR or Hydra, kind of being either Neo'd or Demise from the opposite end. But those guys definitely having a lot to live up to. But when it comes into Search and Destroy, of course, will be map number 2 on some Arden Forest. This is where I start to get a little bit nervous for Hydra, right? Like I said, we talked about their last series. They have pretty heavy struggles in this particular game mode. They ended up losing 6-1. I think it was on St. Marie Search and Destroy in their last series versus a pretty solid team. I'll grant it that. But I heard them in their communication. Their comms were not confident in this game. And hey, we need to work on our setups. We didn't really play this one out well. We need to scrimmage more. We need to play some wagers more when it comes down to this game mode, because something is just not working for us correctly. And I remember casting over Hydra and I think it was whenever they actually had Beastly in the lineup. They were actually known under Enterprise. Had a really solid placement at like Atlanta and stuff like that. This has been a very talented team. But what they've really struggled in, and you look at guys like KiSMET, you look at guys like Zinx, like guys who I've seen a lot throughout the scene, are known for their Search and Destroy, but they've been dominating in the respawns. Like I said, I was talking about, we ended up having a tournament, it was a few months ago, maybe like a month and a half ago, and they take a dominant like hardpoint, I think it was actually on London Docks, versus Enigma 6, and it was like, okay, these guys are here to play. They're actually a very talented team. Lose the Search and Destroy and lose the CTF, but they definitely can go to show that they can hang with some of the top teams in hardpoint. So now that you're looking at Search and Destroy already with a loss, your elimination game is up next. How do they face off? How do they rebound? There are a lot of questions to be asking when it comes to Hydra. Their backs are against the wall, but welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's map number 2 of our current semifinal between Hydra and Team WaR. Of course, loading in for some Search and Destroy on Arden Forest. It will be the boys from Hydra on offense. Neo dropping quick for the first blood. Not exactly what you want to see when you're coming down to a map 1 loss in the way that it was, but KiSMET able to drop one, also finds the second onto RobbieB, and now Tisch finding himself in a 1 versus 2. KiSMET will escape with his life, so the hat-trick potential is still alive. And we'll see what Tisch can do in this situation. Of course, looked to be great off the start, but KiSMET had other plans. Zinx able to get the bomb down successfully. And now it's all about the route that Tisch can take. It's the timing that he can find. Because based off the setup that we see actually from the boys in Hydra, they've got things pretty settled away. Bunch of multiple corridors, and just like that, KiSMET from B-Dom is able to spot him. Tisch, awkward spot. Did have a stun, I think, in his class, if I did see that before he ended up dying. So I thought that maybe a play could have happened there. Maybe kind of lobs that one over, maybe jump peeks past and is able to survive. Could have taken out KiSMET, but not able to do it. Also, shout out to KiSMET. Nice little camo there. Right? Is that the camo? Yeah, actually rocking the luck of the Irish, maybe. Trying to get the luck of the Irish back. Maybe this is what's going to get them back in the series. KiSMET, like I said, he found a hat trick. Who knows? Search and Destroy. It's a game of wits, and it looks like starting off here, I think there was a smoke tossed through mid-map. Fortunately, from my perspective, wasn't able to look at that one too quick. But Hydra making a statement. Neo this time finding 2 and also dropping Demise for the final kill. Can make a number of different puns off of Demise's name, but I will not. I'll refrain. But I want to talk about, though, Demise just had an insane performance in that hardpoint. Finished off 31-19. Question being, how can he perform when it comes down to search and destroy? One of the newer additions to this Team WaR roster. Like I said, in place of Skiliosis, who was known for this game mode. Give high praise to Skiliosis because how talented that he was. But speaking of talent, KiSMET on the opposite end with that sniper, finding the first blood. Shortly after, though, Super is able to find one as well. So things evened up. A player dropping from either side, and KiSMET is stunned. He doesn't know where to check. And Neo does spot one toward that back B bomb site. And this is an awkward situation where you have a sniper player, right? What can he really do? He needs to get in a power position, one where he makes this weapon viable, because if he's kind of sitting through mid-map, I wouldn't say he's as a waste, but you kind of have one player who's planting the bomb in a kind of 1v3 scenario where one guy is watching over him and three players could be entering in at any time. But it looks like player number 7, Tisch, making his way through mid-map and being an absolute nuisance. Still KiSMET with the sniper rifle takes that one, and a big moment where Neo needed to win it, and he's able to make it happen despite having kind of an awkward scenario. Yet KiSMET literally with the sniper who makes the late rotation to try to watch over the bomb planter. It almost looked like this was Team WaR's round to lose, right? Because the bomb's going down. It's a late kind of push to where you need someone to watch over the bomb planter. They make it happen, but it's such a last-second effort. And KiSMET, like I said, I'm not going to say anything else, right? The camos speak for themselves. 6-0, 25 points away. Literally hit a player once and nearly get streaks. Of course, just as I say that, literally gets a hit marker with a nade, but still. I digress. 3 kills, or 3 players, rather, up for either squad. And KiSMET could be gifted one right here. Spots the barrel. Should be good to find the kill. So, yes, guaranteed streaks. KiSMET still yet to die, by the way. Fortunately, given the caster curse, Super is there for the pickup. So now a 2 versus 2 bomb in the hands of Demise. We'll see what he and Super can manage, as it looks like Neo and Rain making sure everything is clear and all good, when in reality it is not even close. Neo just happens to check the wrong area, and I believe Super doesn't even realize he's there. I think both of these teams were literally right next to each other and don't even get a hint that they're literally feet away, inches away at times. So now you're seeing Neo and Rain kind of awkwardly like, okay, well, I guess they saw us and planted, or I'm not really sure what the kind of timing was there, but speaking of timing, COD timing at its finest. Kill comes in from Super, and now Neo, good luck, my friend. Now, I've seen players make insane clutches like this in the past, and there should be no reason why you're holding a setup in cabin and you lose this fight. So let's see what Neo can try and do. As it looks like Super, of course, immediately reacting to where Neo could be coming from, kind of toward that back cave area. Of course, trying to make his way through forest. Time's ticking down, so no defuse will come in. A first round here for the guys on Team WaR. So a much-needed win at that, to say the least. And I gotta say, I'm very surprised by what we're seeing in R4s, because coming into this match for Hydra, right? Not a game mode that they are feeling confident in. And that's not a game, that's not even something that I'm just saying. It's literally what they were saying in their own communication, was that we're not feeling good in this game mode. But KiSMET, right? 7-1. Despite losing that round, at least a positive that you can take out of it is that he earned streaks. And so what's going to be the offensive protocol? It looks like Tisch on the opposite end could be aware that this push toward A is being made. Demise just sitting inside a cabin. Looks like he's getting ready to get intertwined with one. Narrowly finds a second, but KiSMET is able to find that. 8-1. Now make it 8-2. As Zinx now in a 1 versus 3. Nearly gets to turn on to 1, but isn't able to make it happen. Numbers, numbers, numbers. 3-2 now. Team WaR winning back-to-back rounds. You got to wonder when the streaks could be coming into use, because it wouldn't be unorthodox whatsoever if we see KiSMET kind of rock streaks off the start of that round. Thankfully, though, because of the round loss, he does not. But I feel like on Arden Forest, streaks on offense and defense both can be used. I mean, a lot of the time you would prefer to use them in an offensive scenario, but regardless, though, I love that smoke coming in from Demise. Unfortunately, his teammate RobbieB ends up falling, so this is going to make the push a little bit stale because now they're in a 4 versus 3. The smoke is now gone, so they have no cover. And I'm not thinking that Tisch probably has a smoke yet. He has a nade, and SheeshSuper also has a nade as well. So you're going to see them kind of wrap back. And this is totally normal, right? You have players kind of on head glitches. You have no way to block their vision. It's no matter pushing your way through mid-map. Demise has to be careful not to get inside of his own teammate's crossfire. But here comes the fighter pilot to try to guarantee things. Is right now, it looks like SheeshSuper, despite having the streaks rain down, is able to find one onto Neode. That's probably a little bit of over-aggression being shown, you've got to imagine, from Hydra. Zinx falls, and now KiSMET in a 1v3. And he doesn't spot the head of Tisch just off to the right. Of course, we could see the outline. A lot harder to see that play, but that's a round the Hydra throws away, essentially, is what happens in that round, right? It's literally a, what was it, a 4v3. You find first blood. You know exactly where the enemy is because you can see where the bomb planter previously was. The smoke gets tossed. You find the first blood regardless. They have to back up. They make their way through mid-map so much that you have a fighter pilot, that you do damage. You do damage to them with the fighter pilot through mid-map. You can see all 3 of them, and they still take you out. I think it was Neode who made kind of a random rush and ended up getting taken down by Super when he was sitting on B-Dom. Just plays that shouldn't be made. And now Super, off of that last round that shouldn't have been won, is now 10-3. 3 rounds in a row right now for Team WaR. I was giving Hydra praise, and now I'm thinking about taking it back. Despite RobbieBeamin sitting at 1-6, Super is carrying the load. 50 points away from an artillery barrage. That would be big, and finds it. That's a huge victory when you're looking as far as the streak usage and the ability for those in this game. So while it is a loss there from Team WaR, it could be a future victory at the same time. So 4-3. Hydra, after, what was it, like a 3-round swing? They win 3 rounds, they lose 3 rounds, and they finally catch one back up. I'm not sure, does KiSMET even have... Okay, so he still has the glide bomb. I was thinking he probably had something still up his sleeve, but something still to work with. We're actually going to look the entire site, see if anyone has anything. So Super does, obviously. Now, if the board of this offensive round, you're seeing him kind of hanging in the back. This probably means that he could be using streaks. Looks like they might hold on to those for now and debating on whether or not a push toward the B side is a likely one. Here comes the glide bomb from the opposite side, and Super should be dead here, but no, KiSMET actually ends up dropping Demise. And the reason why he actually doesn't take out Super is because Super's got the handy Mountain Division on. And what I think we actually see there is it looks like no class here for RobbieBeamin. Not sure why it's not showing up for him. Regardless, though, I think the reason why Demise ends up dropping there is I think he actually distances himself away from his teammates. Because, of course, he's seen. Because I don't believe he had Mountain on toward the beginning of this round. So he actually distances himself away from his teammates to make sure that a double kill does not come through. So smart play coming in from Demise. Despite that, though, leaves his team in an awkward spot. 3 versus 4, and RobbieBeamin 1-6, now make it 1-7, bomb in hand. It's now fallen, and now SheeshSuper with an all to do a 1 versus 3, now make it a 1 versus 2. But 12 seconds left. I'd call him crazy if he called in any of his streaks, which he's not going to. But cannot find the kills at the end, which of course who would in a 1 versus 3 like that. Neode holding that stair control well. As back and forth we've gone, Hydra are winning these rounds in kind of momentum-based plays. 3 rounds in a row, 3 rounds lost, now 2 rounds in a row. Is the camo helping? Looks like, oh, what is that camo from Rain? That's pretty interesting. I like that. I have to say, my least but also favorite camo is from Brackavex, which is like the brightest camo I've ever seen. It's literally bright orange. It looks exactly like a highlighter, and I call it out every time. It's great. But I feel like at the same time, it would literally reveal yourself on a map like Arden Forest to a point where it's almost like, hey, like I want to use this camo because it looks really nice, but at the same time, I'm a walking, you know, highlighter, basically. Streaks coming through, and now a 3 versus 2. Tisch and Super, as I believe the streak does get called in. Artillery Barrage is in use here for Super, doing everything he can to try to walk away with this round. Of course, his back is against the wall and only has 1 kill to save for it. And right now, if you're Super, you've got to be really frustrated. Like, guys, really, I have to do this all. I'm 13 and 5, and I'm now in a 1 versus 3 on the brink. I've seen a CTF. Bomb being planted here for Neode. As this one is still possible, right? Still possible for Super. I don't believe any streaks. Yeah, no streaks for Zinx or Neode, so he's still good to go. But he has to make quick work. Has to find himself in back-to-back 1v1s. Has armored. He's going to be a little bit loud. Unfortunately, he does drop. Kills come forward from Hydra. And they will win this map number 2 here on Arden Forest. 6-3. And I got to say, I was pretty worried about these guys heading into Search and Destroy. I think I was making that point very clear that I was pretty worried when it came down to Hydra's play, right? Because their ability and their struggles in Search and Destroy, maybe this is just a good map for them, or maybe things are starting to click, right? Maybe things are just starting to click. But take a look at that, though. Super 14 and 6 just for the loss. That's got to be so frustrating. Or what? They have 7 kills. You literally double your team's kills total. Like, you literally double your entire team combined. You double their overall kills. That's going to be so frustrating, I would imagine. That's never happened to me. I'm usually the guy who's at the bottom, like 1 in 19 or something along those lines. But looking on, though, here at our round scoreboard, our Search and Destroy scoreboard here, excuse me. Like I said, it was kind of a momentum base where it was 3-round swing for the guys on Hydra early. Then we were able to take a look at Team WaR, where they started to kind of bring themselves back, and then just at the end, Hydra scoops off the final 3, making it look easy. As now Team WaR now kind of back to even. Now, one thing that I really like about the best of 3 format that I bring up quite a bit of the time is the ability for the kind of similarities when it comes into CTF and the combinations of like Hardpoint and Search and Destroy combined, right? Because you have the respawns, the kind of movement of a game mode like Hardpoint, but you also have the communication and the kind of synergy in a game mode like Search and Destroy when it comes into CTF. Of course, you do have the 7.5 respawn delay. You play 2 halves of 5 minutes. And we could be seeing some overtime when it comes into both these squads. Would not be surprising whatsoever. And it looks like a few players want to play 6v2. That'd be interesting. Everyone wants to win tonight. But no. Of course, looking on, feel free, guys, to put your predictions in the chat below. Are you going for Hydra? Or are you going for Team WaR? Team WaR ended up winning the first respawn at 250 to 135. Made it look easy, and it was all off the back of Demise. Finished off 31 and 19. Didn't have the greatest of performances in the Search and Destroy. That was all Super. So looking on here, at the start of Arden Forest, if you've been following us for tonight's broadcast, if you're new to maybe World War II or just really how CTF works, at least as far as how the maps work, Arden Forest plays probably the slowest out of all the 3 maps in the rotation. Definitely the most methodical. Takes a lot more time to make your way up through the map. And while it is easier to kind of get 3s and 4s down when it comes to the London Docks or even Flak Tower, this map is a lot more, like I said, methodical. Having to make your placements. In some cases, if your teammates fall, if they've pushed up the map, you can kind of fade back, take a lane, and really just try to play the time. It's really important to obviously make player counting because this map is a little bit more vast. It's a little bit more large in scale, so it's a lot easier for players to maybe make it around certain angles to flank. So player counting, very important. And make sure the communication is always going, right? It's non-stop. needs to be a factor for both of these squads, as Armed Forest is known for heading to overtime, so definitely could be probable. This is a lot more of a lower scoring map as well, so definitely have a higher likelihood for that to be the case, as both teams definitely showing aggression off the kick. It looks like Rain, farthest pushed up player right now for Hydra. Of course, currently stunned, his position's known. Makes the flank, does take out Super, and of course his pre-firing knows exactly where the enemy is going to be spawning at. Up close and personal fight, but RobbieB is there to win the fight, but for not much longer. 4 down. To take a look though at where those red arrows are spawning. They're spawning right in that forest side, and they're going to have the ability to actually grab this flag. Can Demise stay alive? Yes. Here comes the pinch, tosses out the fade grenade, gets the hit markers, and it looks like Demise will stay up. Huge play coming in from Demise & Co. from Team WaR. Neo still with the flag in the back of his bases. We're going to be looking a little bit of a stalemate. Look at RobbieB being very careful. Looks like the kills come through, and Demise is good for the cap. Huge plays coming in early for the boys on WaR. As it looks like 3 go down yet again, and Super is good to grab it. You can see him playing very patiently, knows where one player could be. RobbieB's now watching his cut. Tisch is as well. Tisch ends up losing a fight, though, and here comes KiSMET, making his way through that ruined side. Ends up finding 2, tosses out the nade, and only gets hit markers, did almost everything. Nearly did everything, rather. As Super still staying up. Needs to get toward his team now. And it looks like he will be able to get there, but not if Rain has anything to say about it. Does he have a nade? It looks like no, he does not. The shots are all for nothing. It's 2-0 for Team WaR. Just over 1:30 remaining in the first half of our first side of 5 minutes. Of course, once the 1:30 ticks down, we'll flip sides and have another 5 minutes of play. And also keeping in mind as well, both teams level at 1-1. Winner of this series moves on to the finals. Loser is done with a respectable 3rd through 4th place finish. And right now, it's not looking the best. If you are on the side of Hydra, it should be the 3rd flag cap to go in. Player number 2, the only man who can maybe challenge this one, but not close enough. And RobbieB will put through his own cap as well, as it's been Demise, Robbie, and Sheesh. 3 different players who really chalked up a point on the board. It looks like a few extra shots coming in there from Sheesh. Granted for him, he's not able to stay alive for much longer, so maybe some in-game, out-of-game banter, trash talk, who knows. But kind of based off the sides, right? As far as what side is more preferred on a map like Arden Forest, it looks like yet again one more push trying to be made, trying to fully utilize. And I love this play for the fighter pilot, actually. Gonna kind of put my point on hold. Big plays coming in from Sheesh, right? Picks up 2 with the fighter pilot. Demise is good for the flag grab. And the reason why they're hammering on this so hard is because the level of difficulty that it takes to hold actually on this side on bunker. Take a look at this. Player number 7, Tisch. Tisch is here. They're trying to watch over, but it looks like, I thought that, for a second, of course, they get the 4th flag cap in. I thought that if you're on the flag point, I thought that actually could have been reset back, so I do apologize for that. But still, 4 flags at the first half of 5 minutes. Props to rocking the fighter pilot at the end. The side differential is really big when it comes down to Arden Forest, because, of course, you take a look there at that bridge side for just a moment. Bridge spawn is just so huge as far as the level of vastness. You have so much space to spawn. You have so much space to really try to watch over where a player could be grabbing the flag. I mean, you're talking about the guys from or currently the guys from Team WaR now. Their side, I mean, look at this kind of spawn area. You don't really have a whole lot of places to spawn. You either have back bunker, which is going to be pretty cramped, or you have back bell, which is just off toward the right. So when we talk about the ability to rock streaks, your point is to really try to utilize streaks in, you know, kind of certain areas. You want to kind of have like 2 to 3 players kind of bunched up. That's the ideal position for a score streak. Well, that's the exact position that a spawn on Arden Forest, being on bunker side, will grant you. So I really like that play coming in from Team WaR, trying to fully utilize what was an advantage on that first side, and Demise didn't look likely for him to stay alive there inside a bunker. And take a look at this, RobbieB and Super letting them know we are up 4-0. We're dominating you in the respawns. How do you respond? Of course, that's my question. They probably could care less how they respond, but you know what I mean. What can they do? KiSMET down 4 players, drop from Hydra, and RobbieBeamin is stomping them in the dust, trying to put the 5th flag capture on Arden Forest in, as this is just starting to get out of hand. Tisch finding 2, literally by himself on the opposite side of the map and making things look easy. And this is by no means a typical score margin on Arden Forest. This is a score. I mean, 5 flag captures is about like a normal score for a London Docks or a flag tower, but not by any means an Arden Forest, especially being a 5-0. And I like this play coming in from Robbie, just kind of waiting. If his team is able to kind of weather the storm of these blue arrows, of course calling in the streaks as well, if they can kind of take out 3 or 4 players, he's going to grab the flag. It looks like he's going to grab it regardless. And he's already made his way halfway through Ruins. On the opposite, it's Neo'd, but we'll see what Robbie can do. If he can find this kill, that would be huge for his team, let alone just try and stay alive. Looks like the flag is down. Can anyone try to grab it? It looks like Neo'd is waiting. Kills coming in. It looks like Tisch is going to be there for the grab. Here comes an immediate gunfight. Takes out Zinx. But take a look at the play number 3. KiSMET's behind them. Body shots are coming in, and can Tisch stay alive? It looks like he will, despite shooting bodies. Tisch will stay alive in what seemed to be like the perfect compilation for getting what you deserve. It does not come in. It will remain 5-0 for the time. Super watching over his teammate Tisch as the body shots will continue to come through. And right now this is just kind of painful if you are the guys in Hydra, because now you have 2 enemies. You have, of course, the guys on WaR, but you also have the time to worry about. It's Super is just not holding back whatsoever. It's going to be so tilting. I mean, whenever I personally have played public matches, that is the most annoying thing in the world, when someone is shooting your body and it's just like, okay, now I have to look at a 7.5 respawn screen. And oh, and also they're actually just sitting in the opposite side of the base, just kind of waiting the timeout. Gotta be pretty frustrating. But it looks like Rain had an opportunity to maybe go for another flag grab. Neo'd actually comes through with a few streaks of his own, but has no teammate support. You look at the map. There's only 2 players on the map right now. And unfortunately for him, the streak is great, but nothing really comes from it. And what is this? Is this a... Is that an artillery barrage called by the... I'm so confused. I think they actually called an artillery barrage in their own base. I was like, hold on, don't tell me that they're actually doing this. So it looks like Team WaR feels so confident that they actually called an artillery barrage in their own base. So that's awesome. Congratulations to Team WaR for reaching new heights. New meta. Put it in your own base. And it's like, it's not odd to put it in your base when it comes down to someone grabbing a flag, but literally they were off spawn, so it didn't really make sense. Let me actually go ahead and direct someone else from the screen. It's no longer PG-13 rating there. Apologies for that. Make sure your young children or animals are no longer looking at the screen for that moment. Apologies for that. But still, of course, this is going to be a victory in the books here from Team WaR, as they will close out this series 2-1. And in the CTF, in a dominant fashion here on Arden Forest, 5-1. Definitely showing their abilities when it comes down to the respawns. Granted, lost the search and destroy, but it's fair to say, without question, dominated their way through the respawns. Win Hardpoint London Docks 250-135, and win Arden Forest CTF 5-1. Not numbers that we're used to seeing, but ones that are, regardless, very, very impressive. So, of course, props to Team WaR, as they have now found themselves in our finals for tonight. And I believe we're still waiting to hear the winner between GGEA Blue and Vex, which should be another very interesting series as well. So, of course, the winner of that match will now face off against Team WaR. Of course, if you're in WaR's position, it's really up to you who you'd rather face off against. You've got two very, very talented teams waiting, of course, or kind of in that battling out rather in that semifinal to try to get to you. So, of course, a lot of awesome matches still to come. Of course, when it kind of comes down to Hydra's play, what really surprised me was their victories in Search and Destroy, right? I think maybe if we see a different S&D map rather than Armed Forest that maybe goes the way of a 2-0 rather than seeing them at number 3, but still had to give massive props to Hydra for the way that they played. As far as the S&D is considered, granted the respawns did not look great, but like I said, you do take a lot when it comes down to losses in maps like this or in series like this. You gain more than the team that won as far as the overall future of your team is considered, right? Because you obviously realize the losses that you have, and you work from that, and now they know what not to do. Essentially, when it comes down to a CTF on Armed Forest or even a hardpoint on London Docks, they know the routes to maybe be watching from now on. If a player maybe wasn't playing up to par, hey, if that guy's kind of on point, we know that we can obviously win a map. But if you're in Team WaR's position, right, because, of course, now kind of looking at the opposite end, the team who obviously came out victors, if I'm GGA Blue or Vex, I'm looking out for Demise, right? I'm looking out for Demise in the respawns. I mean, I'm looking out for Super when it came down to the Search and Destroy. Has an incredible performance in that game mode as well. Tisch ends up finishing, I believe, and with one of the highest kills I can't actually see because the game lobby was closed. Actually, no, I can't. He finished off 29 and 16 in the CTF. There are a number of different guys to be worrying about when it comes down to this Team WaR roster. So.